Hey there, welcome back. I'm glad to see I haven't scared you off yet with all this meditating and being still and calling things forward to be released. You're a peaceful warrior, and I appreciate your time, your energy, and your presence here. Today, we're going to jump away from a lot of the meditative stuff that we've been doing. Hopefully, you will see the value and the benefit of the meditation, not just in your daily life, but also you'll see how it kind of contributes to this practice that we're going to get into today. Because really what we've done with this meditation thus far, or the meditation practices thus far, is just training ourselves to become connected to our breath and our body, learning how to kind of calm and quiet and focus the mind where we want it to go, and then also clearing space for things to sort of just emerge, like we did with the conscious release exercise. What we're going to do today is we're going to do something called body tuning. And for me, this is a really cool exercise and something to explore, experiment with, and to kind of calibrate in your own time and in your own way, so that we can kind of become more in tune with our body's instinctive or intuitive response to certain things. So our body is filled with all kinds of unconscious intelligence. I mean, we're made up of cells, trillions of cells that have their own awareness, and they respond to stimuli and changes in our environment and changes in the food that we're putting in, and the relationship and the harmony and the balance of our metabolism and our hormones, and all these processes are taking place in our body, and they happen in a completely unconscious way. We're not thinking about digesting our food. We're not thinking about the red blood cells delivering oxygen throughout the body. We're not thinking about those things. It happens. So at some level, there's a deep intuitive intelligence and an awareness in the body, and this exercise is intended to sort of explore and tap into that. I like the idea of, if we can, trying to sort of circumvent the conscious mind and our conscious thoughts, and getting into what does the body just like, how does it just respond? How does it just respond to a thought or an idea or a particular an environment or a person? Like, what is just a general that gut or that body awareness that comes in? By no means is this a foolproof way to say, yeah, this is how we should make all of our decisions based on how our body responds to this. But if nothing else, it's awareness. And I think that's the most important thing that I want to convey about kind of engaging in this practice. Is it's about awareness. So we're going to check in with our body's sort of intuitive responses, our body's intuitive awareness of, we're going to work with yeses and nos, and we're going to work with the feeling of expansion and the feeling of contraction. So yeses and nos are really simple. And the expansion and contraction, basically we're going to focus on our heart center in this area in our chest, and we're going to focus on whether our body, like what an expansion feels like and what a contraction feels like. And we're going to focus on what a yes feels like in the body. And that may be a feeling or a sensation, or it might be a movement. Our body actually might move or twitch or do something in response that tells us it's a yes. And then we're going to ask what the no's are. So we're going to calibrate this first, and then I'm going to turn it over to you and allow you to do some exploring in the prompts afterwards. But this is a really great exercise to just start to become a little bit more tapped into our body's intuitive awareness, and allowing that to inform our decision making, or just allowing us to be aware, rather than if our body is telling us no, or it feels like a contraction, and in our mind we're like, this is a great idea. It's nice to kind of figure out, well, why is there a contradiction there? What about the body and the mind are in contradiction? Where's that tension coming from? So that's why I like to use this, because it allows us to be more aware, allows us to be more reflective, allows us to add more information, and the information that's coming from that deep intuitive intelligence of the body. All right. So wherever you are right now, go ahead and if you want, you can stand on your feet, or you can sit just nice and tall. Go ahead and close your eyes, and we're going to do some yeses and nos first. So what you're going to do to start, just take 3 big energy clearing breaths to kind of reset and become what I would call energy neutral. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, release. We'll do another one. Big deep breath in. Exhale, release. One more time, big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Now go ahead and ask your body to show you what a yes feels like. What does a yes feel like? And just pay attention to any movements, any sensations, any feelings that arise. It could be internal sensations. It could be physically your body might want to move or kind of lean or something like that. Just go ahead and keep asking your body to show you what a yes feels like. See if anything comes in. So I don't know if you can tell, but I got a little wiggle in my shoulders. That's my yes. Okay, now let's try the other way. Let's ask what a no feels like. So take a big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Ask your body, what does a no feel like? What does a no feel like? Take a big deep breath. Ask your body, what does a no feel like? Sometimes it helps to listen on the exhale when we relax. All right, well, my no is like, I feel like I want to fall backwards. So now go ahead and play with it a little bit. Switch between yeses and nos. What does a yes feel like? What's a no feel like? There we go. Now we'll go ahead and turn it over and let's just ask, this is our calibration process. Let's just ask some verifiable questions that are very clear yeses and nos. For example, am I alive and breathing? That's a yes. Am I outside in nature right now? Now, obviously, that answer is going to be different for you and for me, depending on where you're at watching this. Go ahead and ask yourself a couple other verifiable questions. The color of your hair, attributes in the room, and just see if you can calibrate your yeses and nos appropriately. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Now we're actually going to turn into our heart awareness. Just like when you're doing that conscious breathing or the rhythmic breath. Turn into that area of your chest. Tune into that area of your chest. Now you're going to ask your body to show you what expansion feels like in your chest. And if it helps, you can take a big deep breath in and say expansion, 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 expansion. See if that elicits some sort of a sensational response. Now flip the script, ask your body to show you what contraction feels like. And you can aid this process by saying contraction, 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 contraction. Just pay attention to what your heart center feels like. One more time. Now go ahead and try this out and think about your day today or your night tonight and just ask a question, something really simple like, should I eat this snack before bed? And just see if you get an expansion or a contraction feeling. Or you can ask, what does the energy feel like around eating this snack before bed? And just do see if what expansion or contraction comes in. Go ahead and take a big deep breath in. Exhale, release. Go ahead and open your eyes. So there you have it. There's some yeses and some noes in your body. And there's a sensation of expansion or contraction. So definitely let me know in the discussion how these show up for you if you want to share. If they all showed up for you. Sometimes it's tougher for us to tap into one or the other. Another thing you can throw in there is you can ask if there's a maybe. We've got yes, no, and maybe. You can add that into your questioning process and see if your body comes up with a different response. But give it a shot. Try it out. It's a really interesting exercise. I want to encourage you to explore. I actually lean on this quite a bit. Sometimes when I feel like my mind is confused or my emotions are stirred up, I will turn to this expansion contraction exercise or that yes and no exercise just to try and find a grounding, if that makes sense. So like I said earlier, this is not the hard, fast way to make all of your decisions in your life. You could, to be perfectly honest, you could, I guess, if you want to, if that's what you're up for. But it's really a great way to just kind of check in with our awareness. So this is a valuable tool. Say, friends invite you out to a birthday party next weekend, and you can kind of lean into this in the moment and say, okay, well, what does that timeline feel like? What is the potential idea? What does my body intuitively say to me? Because that sounds really fun. I want to go do that. But then if you go into that space and you ask, what is the energy around going to the birthday party next weekend, and you feel a contraction, it's kind of interesting. It could be telling you something. There's something there to look at. Because in your mind, you're thinking, oh, that's a really good idea. But your body's telling you no. Well, why is that? And this is an awesome opportunity to reflect and to ask follow-up questions and to dig deeper. And that's the thing that I love the most about this process, is it kind of gives us something, a baseline to work with, and then allows us to engage in an investigative process, especially if there's any kind of dissonance or tension or conflict between maybe what the mind is telling you or your emotions and then what this body response says. In my experience, noes and contractions are awesome opportunities to investigate more deeply whether something is resonant for us, whether it serves us or not. Yeses and expansions are pretty self-explanatory. I feel like there's a lot to learn about ourselves by pursuing those yeses and seeing what comes of it, but you have to, but that's me. That's the Aries moon in me. I'm going to dive in and see what it's all about. You might be different, but the no's for me have been very great points of reflection. Again, they've been often awesome opportunities for me to check in and go, that's interesting. Well, why does that feel like a contraction? Is it because in actuality, this path maybe doesn't serve me, or is there an emotional block here? Am I bumping up against a fear? Am I bumping up against an internalized trauma or experience that is expressing itself through the body response? These are all really good questions. I can't give you the answers to them here and now. These are questions that you are meant to answer for yourself, and that's what's so awesome about this process. You get to engage in this investigation of yourself and your intuition and your awareness, your body and your mind and your emotions and your energy field, and come up with the answers. That's what this is all about, returning to your truth, finding out who you are and finding out what your loving truth is. And these can be great tools for doing that. So engage with the prompts connected to this video. Please join in the discussion if you feel comfortable sharing. Would love to hear your reflections and insights and revelations. We all learn a lot from being able to share our experiences together. And I still love to just hear all the different point of views and perspectives and the little nuances that everybody brings. People find interesting ways into questions and into their own investigation. And sometimes there's interesting surprises that come up, how the body responds. It's always fun to see. My shoulders had a little wiggle and I felt like I was falling away. But, everybody has very interesting little ticks or things that come in. And it's always fun to hear what those are. I love seeing the diversity of who and what we are in our experiences. Makes this really a kind of just a beautiful collaboration, this thing called life. So I would love to hear if you're open to sharing. So onward, continue on with this exercise. And when you're comfortable, you're settled in, and you've got your yeses and nos, your expansions and contractions, check back in and we'll jump into the next bit of inner looking to help us figure out who we are. What's our loving truth? I'll catch you next time. See ya.